Could Brandon Garrison be Kentucky's breakout big this season? The headlines are all about the new arrivals and returnees, but behind the scenes, his development might be the story that matters for Kentucky. The film doesn't lie. He's showing signs of a highly efficient two-way player with massive upside. And today we're breaking down the film and talking about why he could be a surprise X factor for the Wildcats.
40 seconds. This is Walker Horn. Pass to Garrison.
Hello and welcome back into Scout Team Sports. Today we're talking Brandon Garrison. And when you look at his stats from last year, he doesn't jump off the page at you. He's someone that averaged 6 points a game, just under 4 rebounds, and was a backup primarily through the season for Amari Williams. Now, why do I think he could be a breakout? I want to start by looking at the game film, and we're going to go through an area where I think he excels the most, and that's his ability to impact the game as a dunker rim finisher. Now, for me, Brandon Garrison is one of those guys who has all of the makings of being just an elite rim finisher. Statistics bear that out. Last year around the rim, he was 96th percentile in terms of efficiency, which is off the charts good. And it's not hard to see why. He's super athletic. He's powerfully built. He can go through people. I think he has good hands and can catch passes that come at odd angles. But he has all of the ability to just create and feast off of what other people are creating for him and setting the table. So he finds space really well. He reads what his defender's doing. He can hang out by the rim if necessary. He rolls pretty well. So I think when you give him more time and allow him to be efficient at the rim, especially with all of the options that Kentucky has from a ball handling perspective this year, it just sets up for him to make a living doing that. But he's really far from being one-dimensional around the rim. What's unique about him is that he has really surprisingly good touch around the rim as well. Like some guys who are really good dunkers struggle when people slide over and take that away and make them finish with a little more craft around the rim. That's not really his problem. He has really good touch. He can be a little bit more deliberate with how he gets to the rim, can contort and finish with either hand, gets to open spaces really well, and isn't just reliant on being explosive through people. So I think for him, that makes him a little more dynamic in transition. He's not just a straight line guy. He can use his feet well and good footwork around the rim, can do a lot of things to a high degree of difficulty. So it makes him that much harder to guard, and you couple that with his raw athleticism. He is just really ultimately tough to defend with the ball in his hands going to the rim and makes defenders make tough choices. Now, there is one part of his game that is a bit inefficient, and that's his work in the post. So I want to take a look at how he could make some changes that I think will make him better in that regard. Now, first and foremost, I don't think posting up should be a focal point of his game. That's where he spent the most amount of time last year. But also, as you watch these, he does so much work going away from the basket. And I think when you have his size and strength profile, he really needs to be more aggressive and intentional with getting to the rim instead of going away from it. I think that solves a ton of issues for him. And if this little hook shot that he seems to be in love with a little bit, if that becomes more of a counter move rather than a primary, I think that makes him that much more efficient. So then the question becomes, if he's not going to get the ball in the post as much when he's on the court, where do those touches come from, or how does he still stay involved within the offense? And I think the answer lies to a bit of a hidden statistic, and that comes from his three-point shooting. Now, when you look at the stats last year, you're going to see a guy that shot about 30% on one attempt a game, which is nothing to write home about, right? Like, you're going to see that and go, okay, what's he really doing then that makes you think he should shoot more threes? I think when you dive into the details a little bit more around his shooting, you start to see a clearer picture. So when he was shooting catch and shoot looks, he was up to 34%. When those catch and shoot looks were unguarded, he was at 36%. So I feel like as a counter to a guy who I've already established is a really good, puts rim pressure on the defense, he's going to get more open looks than not. So I think when you look at him on the perimeter, he seems comfortable. I think the natural step is to invite that just a little bit more and take some more of those every game. So what are my final thoughts on Brandon Garrison? Well, people tend to forget just how highly regarded he was last year. He's a guy who came in with a bit of a pedigree, had a good freshman season at Oklahoma State, and had a lot of expectations last year. And then you factor in, the ascendance of Amari Williams, and that threw a wrench in things. He was primarily a backup after starting much of the year at Oklahoma State. Amari Williams was very good, very accomplished last year. They had other pieces in the front court that were able to do things as well. And then you shift gears into this year. And I think, the hype, and rightfully so, around this Kentucky program is all of the incoming talent that they're bringing in, which is a lot. There's an abundance of talent in Lexington right now. There's just a lot of guys who can play and play well, and there's going to be a competition for minutes. But for me, as I'm looking at the upside of some of these pieces, I cannot discount a guy like Brandon Garrison. I think he has tools that other people don't possess. I think he's going to be putting himself in a position to make an impact that maybe people would have thought would have happened last year. I think there's just too many things he does exceptionally well. We've talked about him putting pressure on the rim, his ability to finish over and around people. And then I think if you give him more threes, he likely makes more. Percentages will probably live in the lower 30s, but you're fine with that given what else he brings you. So I know Jelic is going to be someone who is going to take some minutes. He's also a very skilled, potent four, but having a two-headed monster of Amari Williams and Brandon Garrison can only help you out as a program. All in all, Kentucky fans, you know, if you've seen my channel before, I'm high on Mark Pope, his system, the way they run offense, and how that's going to lead to success, you know, throughout the season and into the NCAA tournament. So for me, I think that this is just a program that's going to continue to be on the rise. Is a weird thing to say for Kentucky, but I do think that it's a team with Final Four aspirations this year, and having a Brandon Garrison that's a significant contributor only makes that more likely. So I'm curious, though, what are your thoughts? Let me know what you think. Is Brandon Garrison set up for a big year? Do you think he's going to be in for a similar role that he had last year? I'll give you one last prediction. I think he makes enough of a splash and has enough of a pedigree that he could be a guy who is a surprise, not surprise, but a surprise at this point in time, entry into the NBA draft next year. But I appreciate all you guys being here, being a part of the channel. Drop a comment below, subscribe if you don't mind. It helps me out a ton. I appreciate having you guys on these videos. I hope to see you on the next one.